The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area.
I'm Peggy Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, with updates from the local restaurant, arts, and entertainment scenes. Joining me, Poppy Tooker, host of Louisiana Eats. That's, of course, on WWNO Radio. Hello, Miss Poppy. Peggy. Hi there. Gwen Thompkins is back again, and we're so glad, and she is the host of the public radio program Music Inside Out, heard at musicinsideout.org. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
It's been a while. Greg Schramel, founder and artistic director of the New Orleans Ballet Theatre.
Nice to be back.
You.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Also, it's been a while. Lydia Blackmore, and she is the curator of the Historic New Orleans Collection's brand new exhibit called Unknown Sitters. But that's not all. Okay, we also have Gary Rucker, director of the musical Sister Act, now playing at Rivertown Theater in Kenner. Hello, Mr. Gary.
How are you doing?
Hi there. And Alan is off this week, but he'll be back soon. And I do have to show you, though, we're in our lots of Jazz Fest mode talk tonight, too. And I am wearing an original Patrice McMurray right here.
Wow.
The earrings. And she's going to be at the Festival Marketplace booth. So check her out this weekend. Poppy, the calendar says it's almost May 5th.
Well, you know, in New Orleans, the party never stops. You just have to pick which party you're going to. And I can tell you what, this Sunday, the thing to do is going to be Cinco de Mayo. And my dear friend, Edgar Caro, and his partner, Antonio Mata, and of course, that is the new Brasa Steakhouse in Canal Place. That's the original Brasa South American Steakhouse on Metairie Road. They also own Baru, Basin Seafood and Spirits, and Zocala. And so all of the restaurants are participating in this year's 4th annual Zocala Cinco de Mayo. Now, new this year at Zocalo Cinco de Mayo is a VIP access with a tent and an unlimited drink VIP bar, so you can really go get your fiesta on. But you know what? This is a fiesta and a block party that is free, okay? This is a free event with live music. There'll be margaritas, there'll be tacos, of course there'll be tequila. It's going to be so much fun.
So you can purchase at the various booths.
Exactly.
Okay,
but there's no admission to get in. It's the whole big block on Metairie Road. And we'll talk very soon about that new Brasa South American Steakhouse. Look at those tortillas getting ready to come fresh off the grill. I can almost smell them. But you know, Peg, I got my Cinco de Mayo started early because there is a place that I love so much, and I haven't talked about it nearly in the longest, and that's El Pavo Real. That's Chef Lindsay McEllen and her husband Mario, and of course they're right over there in Broadmoor, where Fontainebleau, Napoleon, and South Broad come together. It's such a charming place, and it brings a little tear to my eye, because you see that window there, when it was a time saver and I was a little girl, my grandpa used to walk me over there and we'd sit there and he'd get me some bazooka bubble gum, and Pawsy and I would read the cartoons inside, you know? But the food is fantastic. So it's coastal Mexican cuisine, and it has a Oaxacan influence. It's much the same on the inside as it was when it was a pharmacy, but it's charming, and the food is so good. Oh my goodness, they start you off with a little popcorn. It's charming in there. And then the ceviche, I think, is the best in the city, with Gulf fish, baby octopus, and shrimp. But the real reason I love it is the mole. The mole, I promise you, is the best you can get anywhere in the city. And you can, if you're not in the mood for the whole big kit and caboodle, the mole poblano, half a chicken with house-made tortillas, they do have mole tamales also on the menu. There's crab and avocado quesadilla. That's the pescado Veracruz, which is a Gulf fish smothered with tomatoes, onions, capers, and olives, with a cilantro, green onion rice, and green beans. I'm telling you, the food is great, but save room for the dessert. They've got coffee flan, rum cake, coconut pie, but the Mexican chocolate mousse with the hot, freshly made churros. Oh my goodness, I cannot say enough. There's a full bar with great margaritas. And by the way, they're half off with some other food items during happy hour every day, 3:30 to 5:30. And there's also a Sunday brunch that needs to be considered. And last year, I had the wonderful opportunity to attend the Groddat Youth Farm annual dinner. And that's happening on Tuesday, May the 14th this year. It's a fundraiser in the fields at City Park. The theme this year is to SEA, see and be seen. There'll be a Turning Tables cocktail hour. You see how much fun that was last year. There's youth-led farm tours. There's a 4-course dinner featuring chefs including Susan Spicer and Prince Lobo of Addis Nola. And I'm telling you, it's a great event.
Oh, it looks beautiful, too.
Oh, and delicious.
All right. Thank you so much. Gwen, second weekend of Jazz Fest.
Yes,
We're looking for your advice.
Well, the truth of the matter is, wherever you land, you're probably in a good space. So I'm just going to add what I might be interested in going to see this weekend. And this is a very cruel weekend, the second weekend, because there's so many competing acts that are happening at the same time, and you're going to have to make some very difficult decisions or run very fast. Danny Barker, the great, musician and raconteur, always said that a life spent in jazz is like a ride on a royal camel. And, you can pace it as you like. It's going to be as beautiful and luxurious as you like it to be. And no one sort of exudes that more than Jermaine Basil, who is going to be performing on Friday, May 3rd. And she is, I hope I'm not revealing anything anybody doesn't already know, she's in her 90s at this point.
Incredible.
She is an extremely compelling performer. She is still mesmerizing, and she's going to be at the WWOZ Jazz Tent at 1:30.
All right.
So I think that my plan would be to see Jermaine Basil. Also, Zachary Richard. This is a choice that we're going to have to make. Zachary Richard is the great balladeer and poet and champion of southwestern Louisiana. And over the course of his long career, he's promoted Francophone culture in the U.S. and in Canada. Years ago, I remember him doing this really beautiful duet with Celine Dion, actually. They did a cover of the band song Acadian Driftwood, which is absolutely gorgeous. And his musicality is first rate. And he's going to be at the Sheraton New Orleans Fado Do stage at 1:40. And then on Friday, there's another Canadian who's going to be performing, and that is Allison Russell. She is building this amazing career right now as an Americana artist. Her songs include blues, jazz, country, even some klezmer influences. And she is just extraordinary. She's performed on the Grammys, if you've watched the Grammy Awards recently. And she's also performed a lot with Rhiannon Giddens, who is in a little band with her. Russell's own band includes a New Orleans guitarist and folk singer of just wonderful note, Joy Clark. So you'll probably see Joy Clark on stage with Allison Russell on Friday over at the Blues Tent at 3:55. And then on Saturday, Lucio Fouillet is playing, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. There are an awful lot of vowels in that name. But he's a rising singer-songwriter and from Colombia, and Colombia, of course, is the nation that is of particular focus at Jazz Fest this year. And his music is really evocative of the heyday of singer-songwriters here in the U.S. and Man beautiful man, beautiful guitar, beautiful voice, you know. And Fouye will appear at other locales at the festival over the weekend. But on Saturday, it's going to be the best opportunity, I think, to see him, which will be at the Gentili stage at 12:45. As I mentioned earlier, this weekend is creating some impossible choices, and two of the most impossible choices, I think, are coming up next, and they are Samara Joy and Rhiannon Giddens. They're playing at dang near the exact same time, one in the jazz tent and one in the blues tent. And Samara Joy is the young jazz sensation. Her vocal range is shockingly broad. She can do things with her voice that only Betty Carter could do, or maybe Dinah Washington. I don't even think that Ella had her range. You know, Ella Fitzgerald had her range. But what's great about Samara Joy, she's young, but she can really scat, she can really sing, and she can really swing. And she started listening to jazz when she was in college. And this woman is not yet 30 years old. Can you imagine what she's going to do in 10 years? And she's won an armful of awards, of course, and her latest was a Grammy this year for a rearrangement of a Betty Carter song called Tight, which is fantastic. And she's going to be at the OZ tent, at Jazz Tent at 4:10. Then, of course, Rhiannon Giddens will start literally 5 minutes later at the Blues Tent. This is the phenom of Americana, folk, blues, country, jazz, and now classical music. She's got a multi-octave voice. The last time I saw her at the Jazz Fest, we gave her 4 standing ovations before the middle of the show. And she, you know, she's just as well as a singer, she's an impressive instrumentalist. And she plays banjo, she plays a number of other stringed instruments. And she also recently performed on Beyonce's most recent country hit. I think it's called Texas Hold'em, and that's Rhiannon Giddens that you hear on the song. She won a Pulitzer not long ago for her opera Omar, and she's a MacArthur genius. So can you imagine? Go see this woman. Go see Samara Joy. You're going to have a great time. And speaking of one-of-a-kind women, Queen Latifah is going to end that day, and there's just no one like Queen Latifah. She is better known now as a television personality in so many different fields, you know, drama and comedy, and as a talk show host. But she began with hip hop. That was what put her on the map, and she does a kind of hip hop that the whole family can enjoy. So I would say, if you have a chance, go see these extraordinary women on Saturday, and Queen Latifah will be at 5:40. Then on Sunday, on May 5th, there's going to be Victor Goines. He's the kid from New Orleans. He's up in St. Louis now with St. Louis Jazz. Wonderful quartet will be playing at the OZ tent at 12:20. I put Irma Thomas in here only because you got to put Irma Thomas in. I'm not going to explain why you need to go see Irma Thomas. You just need to know that. But then there's also this wonderful choir called the Tennessee Mass Choir. Huge organization of people, wonderfully directed and choreographed, and they have come to perform at the Gospel Tent presented by Morris Bard at 3:50 on Sunday. And upon reaching the end of the festival, wherever you are is the right place to be, as I say. You know what I mean? If my feet are on festival grounds on Sunday, they're going to be probably with Bonnie Raitt at the Bonnie Raitt show. Yes. That's because Bonnie Raitt was supposed to come to New Orleans a while back and was not able to, but she had a health issue, and now she's back. And Bonnie Raitt was the first act I ever saw at Jazz Fest when I was a kid. And I thought to myself, oh, Jazz Fest is great. All the singers are like this. All the performers are like this. And then I realized over time, there's nobody like Bonnie Raitt. So I'm going to go and see Bonnie Raitt at 5:30, and that's going to be over at the Gentili stage.
Thank you so much. Hard choices to make.
Yes.
Wow. Lydia, the Historic New Orleans Collection is always coming up with new exhibits, and this one is particularly novel because of the thousands or hundreds of thousands of images that you all have at the collection. You chose ones that you don't know who these people are.
Yes, yeah. The recent exhibition, Unknown Sitters, it opened at the beginning of April. Will be open all summer through October 6th. It features portraits, painted portraits from our holdings.
And we're going to show some video as you're talking. It's very intriguing.
We don't know who they are. And I recently was handed the paintings collection at HNOC when Judith Bonner retired, and so my first dip into it was getting to know the faces of the collection, going through and cataloging. I did a census of our portraiture collection, And these people who we didn't know who they were really stuck with me. Some of them are biggest hits. You've seen these portraits before. There's the Jules Leon double portrait. There's the Creole in the red headdress. But some of these portraits have never come out of storage because we didn't know who they are. And so why not create an exhibition where that is the whole story of the unknown, and to bring these beautiful pieces out of storage.
Now, you also are doing guided tours as well on occasion. So even though it's free to go, but the guided tours is like $5.
It's $5. It's Thursdays and Fridays and Sundays, I believe, at 11:30 and 12:30, with our visitor services folks, who will take you through a little bit of the curatorial process of doing the research of these portraits.
Yeah.
When you go to the exhibition, you'll see many of the portraits have two labels. There's a purple label and a green label. And all the purple labels are written by me and my curatorial colleagues to say what we can know about the portraits, based on the context of the art, based on the artists themselves, based on those little key details that you find in a portrait. And so the guided tour takes you through some of the research steps of solving that mystery.
I love that idea. And you're trying to make it a little bit interactive. And you all had recently you had a contest, huh?
Yes. The other label next to the portrait, the green label, is a creative label written by a student. We have an annual student writing contest at the Historic New Orleans Collection. And this year the theme was the unknown sitters. So we put out portraits that were going to be included in the exhibition and invited students to write whatever they wanted to write, any creative example. The only limit was it had to be less than 200 words because it had to go on the wall.
What a great idea.
So the students, there are elementary school, middle school, and high school submissions, and they wrote some really amazing pieces. Some of them are just hilarious.
So everybody go see them.
Yes, some of them are very poignant. There was a lot of really sappy poetry from the middle school crowd, but we had 1,100 responses to that essay.
Well, for more information, thank you, Lydia. hnoc.org, and go and see it. And that's the deal, to go there for free. I mean, it's such a generous gift to the community. And moving over to Greg, something completely different, Dawn.
Really different. I mean, it's so, you know, once upon a time when I would come here, I'd be talking about the things that I had been doing or that, you know, I was choreographing. This isn't the case with this. We have a choreographer who's been with us for 2 years now. His name's Oliver Halkovich. He came from Houston Ballet. He had been a soloist there, and he got to be that age where they put us out to pasture in ballet because at about 40, that's what happens. And he came to New Orleans. He came to dance, and then I got to know him, and I thought, this is a really unique guy. He's a live wire.
So this time around, he is done.
He's done Dracula.
Whoop. And we're gonna, as you're speaking, we're going to show some clips from rehearsals.
You know, I've been
amazing.
doing this for, gosh, 40, what am I, 63? Let's do the math. I've been doing this 45 years now.
Wow.
And he's something special. You know, if you've been doing an art form for 45 years, it's rare that you see something that you go, wow, that's original. We all copy each other. We all steal from each other. But this is unique.
Music, though.
And the soundtrack is, I mean, it goes from, we've got Frank Zappa, we've got Eric Satie, we've got Deo. It all comes out of his mind. I think he sees it before he ever finds what he needs. And you know, the other thing is 23 years ago, we've come here talking about our mission, which was to create a professional ballet company in New Orleans. That got achieved about 3 years ago. Now we get to drive the Ferrari. And this is good stuff. I mean, I would go see this anywhere in the world. Our dancers are getting better and better. We have we brought in a couple from the Royal Winnipeg about 3 years ago. And now we have this young man who's come. He was a friend of a person we danced with. He's spectacular. Oliver's spectacular. So many of the other dancers. I mean, they're.
And you're at the Orpheum.
We're at the Orpheum. Well, that's our home now. We do all of our shows at the Orpheum now.
Now, we should also remind everybody, in case they don't know, that of course there's a dancing school component to this too. That's very important.
There is.
And all this is in the Lower Garden District.
It is. It's all in the Lower Garden District. It's in a building that I believe used to house Dixie Printing. So it's 2 giant warehouses, and we've built out one of them, and it's also recording studios. But so New York City Ballet started, and George Balanchine said we have to have the school first. So we had a school first, and
wow.
it's all come together now. We have a school, and then we have what's called a trainee program, and they are students who come from all over the country. We had over 400 auditionees this year.
Wow.
I don't know how they do this, and 50 of them came to New Orleans, and we looked at them, and I can't tell you how much pressure that is to look at 50 people who you're sort of the gatekeeper for the future of their career. I mean, they go other places, obviously, and you have an hour and a half to make a decision about this.
Well, Greg, congratulations on all your hard work. Wow, performances, teaching, lots more to talk about too.
Well, Dracula was designed to be a tourable thing, so
right.
I think we're already going
there's a future
to
with
Shreveport, Alexandria. But I think this is really the first thing we'll bring to New York.
Congratulations. Wow. Keep in touch on that. And Gary, Sister Act, that musical about nuns, and of course based on the movie with Whoopi Goldberg. Tell us about your production.
Oh, yeah, so we open this weekend. Everybody knows the movie Sister Act. They remember the really great soundtrack from it and sometimes little else. What I love about the musical is they took the story without the trappings of the famous music that you know. They wrote their own score. Alan Menken did the score.
And we have a montage we'll be showing too.
Oh, good.
Go ahead.
Alan Menken, famously from Little Shop of Horrors and a lot of Disney movies, he wrote the score for the show. And it captures the feeling of the movie. The show is now set in the 70s, so there's lots of good 70s feeling music. But the score is very funny. The music's beautiful, and I just feel like the musical really enhances what the movie set out to do.
It was so much fun. Now, this is the end of your season, isn't it? You're going to be starting a new season in the fall. And
that's right, yes.
How do you choose what you show, what you decide to produce?
So Kelly and I lock ourselves in a room, and we try to pick that's right. We try to pick something for the older crowd, something for the younger crowd, something small, something new, and we decide on a season, and then we leave, and Kelly will hear something on the radio or read something in the paper, and then we change everything, and then that's our season. And that's our formula for 12 years now, and it's worked so far, so we don't see a need to change it.
Has. And if somebody's never been to Rivertown, that was formerly a movie theater, wasn't it? And
a long time ago.
The
small theater was the movie theater, and then we're on the main stage, which is, you can see behind me, and that was built in the 90s, early 2000s.
Wow.
But it's a beautiful theater. If you've never been, come see us.
So much fun. Congratulations on that. I'm especially looking forward to next season, the new Ricky Graham production too.
That's right.
Huh?
Yes, it's called It's a Wonderful Life, Y'all. So it's basically the story of It's a Wonderful Life set in New Orleans, and Ricky, he's knocked it out of the park. It has all the heart of the movie with a lot of really funny New Orleans references, lots of Ricky Graham humor. I think that's going to be the gem on our season next year. I can't wait for it.
Congratulations, looking forward to it. And this weekend, Sister Act.
Yes, opening weekend is almost sold out, so we run 2 more weekends after that.
Come see it. Thank you. Time for picks, Poppy.
Well, it is summertime outside, and that means it's time for snowballs. I told everybody that Rosie's Snowballs was coming to Rosella, and they have opened up, and they're right there on South Cortez. That's the corner behind Mandina's. Go get a snowball. They're fabulous. And if you didn't make it to the drag brunch last weekend, we are doing it again at the Jazz Fest on Sunday with 2 performances, one at 11:30 and one at 2. I'll see you there.
Thank you. Gwen.
Steve Mazakowski and friends are going to be performing, the great guitarist Steve Mazakowski, over at the Ellis Marsalis Center for Music. That's going to be Tuesday, May 7th, 6:30.
All right. Thank you so much. And now my picks, the WYES WYES Gala online auction goes live tonight, May 2nd. More than 100 items are up for bid, including clothing, home decor, and jewelry. This stunning necklace from Symmetry Jewelers, along with pieces from Ella Bartlow, Diamonds Direct, and more. Plus trips to Key West, the U.S. Open, Gulf getaways, lots and lots of vacations and staycations too. And a very rare signed, remarked framed copy of Garland Robinette's Jazz Fest poster featuring the late great Jimmy Buffett. Garland and Jimmy Buffett signed an edition of 100 artist-proof prints that are remarked with a hand-drawn parrot by Robinette. There are only 3 of those left, and this is from Garland's private edition for purchase. So it's very, very rare. Check it out. Plus Sugar Bowl, Yankees, and Saints tickets too. Bidding runs through next Thursday night, May 9th, and tickets are still available at the WYES Gala. So that's the same night here at WYES Studios. And it's Jimmy Buffett inspired. Go to WYES.org for 5 o'clock somewhere with lots of food from the Windsor Court, including cheeseburgers in paradise and much more. Ticket info at WYES.org. And Monday at 9 o'clock, we'll be looking back at the 1984 World's Fair with my pals here. Mark Romig, who worked at the fair, and Deacon John, who performed there many, many times. 9 o'clock followed by the WYES documentary, A World's Fair to Remember. So go to WYES.org for future viewing on those times. Also on YouTube for a very limited amount of time. And this weekend, a quick mention of Saturday's Art Walk on Julia Street, Carol Halleck at Gallery 600 Julia, Aaron Belka, that is, at Lemieux. Also that night, pianist-singer Judith Owen over at BK House on Chartist. And then next Thursday, Sarah Essex Bradley and Valerie Hart with their gorgeous new book, Bohemian Soul, Garden District. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Good night.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area.